It's Battle of the Blues, Tobacco Road Showdown, Duke, Carolina, the rivalry, whatever it is. Whatever you want to call it, it's upon us. It's 2 days away. 6:30 at Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham, UNC at Duke. Top 10 matchup. I mean, what more can you ask for, right?
I'm excited.
I mean, who's not pumped for this?
So ready. And, I don't even have a dog in the fight.
Neither do I.
I just can't wait for it.
But it's what, for a lot of people, it's their kickoff to college basketball, or their tip-off, I should say, to college basketball.
I mean, in school, who doesn't remember wheeling in the big TV on the big... thing to watch the tournaments.
Well, for ACC tournament stuff, but for a lot of casual basketball fans, because football season's wrapped up, they're starting to get into college basketball right now, especially with tournament time coming up. A lot of people, it's the second matchup between Duke Carolina is their lead into college basketball for a lot of fans. Like, oh, it's March, Duke Carolina top 10. Okay, turn on TV. That's what a lot of people do. This is that kickoff for a lot of people. But I'm going to look ahead to the actual game itself, and I'm going to pick a player on each team that I think is going to have, that I'm looking to have an impact for their squad. And I'm trying to go outside of the obvious. So Armando Bacon, RJ Davis, or Kyle Filipowski. Well, yes, those guys, obviously, they're all ACC, All-American talents, right? But for me, I'm going to look at Elliot Cadeau, the point guard for North Carolina. If RJ Davis, let's go on the defensive side for Elliot Cadeau right here for Carolina. If RJ Davis is going to be tasked with maybe guarding Jared McCain, because Jared McCain is such a lights-out outside shooter, we see Jared McCain working a lot off ball while Jeremy Roach and even Tyrese Proctor are guys that are handling the ball. We see Jared McCain working off ball a lot. Even just go back to Monday night against NC State, we saw Jared McCain running baseline, coming off of multiple staggered screens just to get open on the perimeter. We saw that a lot. And DJ Horn for NC State was chasing him around the floor. If RJ Davis is tasked with that responsibility of trailing Jared McCain around the floor, who's Elliot Cadeau going to be marked up on? My guess is going to be it's Jeremy Roach, based off of size, because Tyrese Proctor, a little bit taller at 6'5". Maybe Cormac Ryan draws that. Tyrese Proctor really doesn't have that first step to blow by somebody with the ball. So maybe that's Cormac Ryan's defensive responsibility. So how is Elliot Cadeau going to handle Roach? So we've seen sometimes Elliot Cadeau get in foul trouble when guys are driving into the lane. We've seen Cadeau sometimes pick up fouls, and even quickly. These times, I think it was the Georgia Tech game not that long ago, where Elliot Cadeau picked up 5 fouls all in the second half. So how is Elliot Cadeau going to handle a veteran guy like Jeremy Roach in terms of trying to stop him one-on-one? It's going to be fascinating to watch him do that. But also, what's it going to look like for when Elliot Cadeau is going to have the ball offensively? Who's he going to be marked by? Is it going to be Roach? Is McCain going to be tasked with guarding RJ Davis? Is Proctor, again, because of length and size, going to be in charge of guarding Cormac Ryan? Elliot Cadeau is amazing and impressive for a guy at such a young age. Keep in mind, Elliot Cadeau, age-wise, should be a senior in high school right now. Not a freshman in college, a senior in high school. It's fascinating to watch him get inside the defense, have the vision to find open guys at such a young age. If he can continue to evolve and grow as a finisher around the rim and have a respectable outside shot, watch out. That's when Carolina, I think, can really be at their best. And we've seen Elliot Cadeau start to finish better around the rim. That's something he does. That guy can get to the rim. Now, he's a pass-first guy. We don't really see that a lot with young players anymore. A lot of young guys, when they get inside the lane, it's get to the cup and it's finish. For him, it's get inside the lane, find that open guy. Which takes me to a guy I think could stand out for Duke in this matchup coming up. Sean Stewart. That game Monday against NC State, Sean Stewart put on a show. Coming off the bench, Kyle Filipowski was in foul trouble. Had 12 points, 3 blocks, if I remember correctly, in that game. Impressive young minutes for a guy who really hasn't played a whole lot this season up until recently. Was Monday's game against NC State just a moment? And the reason why I say just a moment is because in sports, any team, any player, any coach is capable of having an awesome moment. Not saying they're bad and they just played above their level. It's just you had an awesome moment. Sometimes we confuse a player having a great moment. Like, for example, in the sport of football, we see a wide receiver that normally might catch 3 passes for 37 yards, and that's just their role. That's just who they are. But then we see him have a game where they catch 7 for 125 and 2 touchdowns. Like, oh, see what he just did? And we assume that's automatically who that person is going to be the next game, the game after, game after. I'm not saying Sean Stewart is incapable of replicating what he saw against NC State. My point is we just haven't seen him do that yet. Again, he was awesome. He was noticeably the best athlete on the floor in the game between NC State and Duke the other day. But can he replicate what he did when playing against Armando Bacot, a fifth-year senior who's an All-American, against Harrison Ingram, who actually might be the best athlete on the floor on Saturday night? As athletic as Sean Stewart is, not trying to disrespect the athleticism of these guys, but Harrison Ingram is just impressive in and of himself. How does he handle that? How does he handle being a weak side help defender? What if he's stuck in a pick and roll situation with, RJ Davis has the ball and it's Davis and Bacot, and he's like, okay, well, RJ Davis is a great outside shooter. Okay, do I blitz the ball screen? Do I drop off? We haven't seen him in those situations yet. Now, we saw him go, body up against DJ Burns. DJ Burns plays a much different game than Armando Bacot. We haven't really seen him get consistent minutes throughout this season, so we just don't know. But I'm fascinated to see what that guy can do. Maybe he has his minutes reduced because one of the reasons why he got a lot of playing time on Monday was because Kyle Filipowski was in foul trouble. It was also the second game in 3 days. So we saw John Shire go to the bench a little more. John Shire, much of this season, really has rolled with 6 main guys and then a couple others here and there.
Typical Duke.
Well, I mean, it's just what he went to early on this season. I mean, we saw Ryan Young at the beginning of the year get some starts, get some minutes early, especially when Mark Mitchell had a couple games where he missed. But we've seen Ryan Young, who's a graduate senior, his minutes drastically reduced. TJ Power, we saw him play a little bit early on in the season. Same with Sean Stewart. Those guys, especially defensively, just weren't ready. Early in the season when TJ Power was playing, Duke actually was going to a zone defense because TJ Power just wasn't there defensively yet. We can see what he can do from a shooting standpoint, but you got to play on both ends of the court. So I think it's something that these guys have grown and evolved over the course of the season. But with Caleb Foster being out, now you have to dig into the bench a little bit more. So maybe this can benefit Duke going into the NCAA tournament where guys like TJ Power and Sean Stewart are getting valuable minutes in ACC play and again, in some good situations. Where when Caleb Foster does come back, those guys have a little bit more confidence, a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more growth. I feel like Duke is ascending at the right time.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like, I know they had a loss recently, but I feel like they are at Wake Forest. But that team, I think, as a whole is ascending at the right time. And if Foster is back by the NCAA tournament, we'll see what his limitations are.
They're going to be so tough to beat.
They really are. I think they really are. I think Duke is ascending at the right time, and I think Carolina is clicking right now as well. Saturday's matchup, get your popcorn ready. I am stoked.
All the popcorn.
All of it. Get your popcorn, your favorite drink, order pizza, wings, you name it.
I mean, if you want a diet blue and dark blue, I mean, that's on you.
Hey, you know what? That's
festive.
Fine. That's fine. And you know what? And you're like, I hate both these teams. Yeah. I'm not watching. You could do that too.
Right. Make purple popcorn. I don't care. I'm going to have it all.
Make green. I don't care. Whatever it is that you want to do.
Yes. It's going to be so good.
All right. We're going to get Walt Ruff here on the phone here in just a second. So as we get ready to bring Walt Ruff on here, again, the Carolina Hurricanes, hopefully, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll be making a trade here in the next, now under 24 hours. The trade deadline of the NHL is tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We've seen guys like Anthony Beauvillier go. He just got traded. This trade was announced about 15 minutes ago. Anthony Beauvillier going to Nashville from Chicago for picks. Like, we're seeing a lot of depth roster pieces. Guys like the Carolina Hurricanes have brought in the past. A lot of these guys are on the move. Pavel Buchnevich from St. Louis, another big-time goal scorer, a guy that can play on the top 2 lines for Carolina. That's floating around up there. By the way, Carolina, one of the lowest in the Eastern Conference in terms of their top 6 forwards of goals scored this season. Like, they need a goal scorer. Simple as that.